Like, if I was to tell you there's 2 players I want to watch doing HRE, and I gave you 5 guesses, you'd get at least one of these, possibly 2, because these are some of the players we've been watching most. You know, there's Guys, there's Matisse, there's Hart, but those guys aren't here. Those are your tips. With 5 guesses, I think you guessed these 2. It is, of course, the return of the Viper in the blue, but his opponent in the red. Fitzy here, featured once or twice on the channel already, I believe, has been playing quite a lot of HRE. I feel like every time I check out Fitzy, he is, in fact, playing HRE. Fitzy here is not the same as Fitzbro, for anyone who's confused by that. I believe Fitzbro is a different person. He's specifically a Age of Empires content creator, right? Fitzy here, however, people might still know because Fitzy here is just in general a very big deal. He's got over 200,000 followers on Twitch, I believe it is. And he plays, he's played a variety of games in the past, but at the moment he's just been hard on that Age of Empires 4 grind, so I'm always happy to feature people like that. But I believe his start was back in like StarCraft 2, back in the old days. And then he was mainly just an Overwatch streamer for a while. But it's cool to see him return into the world of strategy games. And he was doing fairly well last I checked. Fitzy, at the time of recording, on the leaderboards, currently sitting in 51st. Holy crap, Fitzy. That's such an improvement. This guy, I was expecting the top 200. I think last time I checked in on him, he was floating 100 to 200. But he's climbed rapido all of a sudden. 1,752 ELO rating, 51st place on leaderboards with 431 games played and a 55% win rate, so likely to still slide up a little bit further. Of course, Viper probably needs no explanation. Feels like he's almost always in the top 30 at any given time. Currently seeing 23rd, 340 games played, 63% win rate, 1,846 ELO. So really not that much difference in score, I'd say, between the two of them. Like, yeah, it's 100. Okay, 100 is like a fair distance, but still, like, it's close enough that we should get a good match is what I'm trying to get at here. Like, Fitzy, like I said, he's been doing this since 2012, all right? He's no stranger to the dance of RTS life. And, well, Viper, he created the RTS life, right? It feels like this is just the GOAT in a lot of people's eyes for RTSs. If you're part of the Age of Empires community, this is your GOAT, right? If you didn't engage with the StarCraft, the Warcraft side, this is the person you worship, probably. This is your god in the esports scene. And they're going to be juking out on Danube. And so far, it looks like there's been an early move onto the water out of Fitzy. And it's now going to be matched by Viper. Notice this difference. Viper going for 2. He's giving himself a backup dock. I really like this play. It's incredibly underrated. Not enough players do it. The reason being is, so the way these spawns work is usually one player starts here and one player starts here, right? That's the usual way we see it. The alternative is what we're seeing here, where they kind of flip that a little bit. And what it means is that the player more in the corner has a more easily defendable location on the dock, but they're more predictable in where they're going to be. What Viper has as a flexi option from his positioning is the opportunity to have a fullback dock location where he has an economy and then a frontal dock where he pushes the military, right? And you essentially separate the concerns so that when people come raiding, you'll have military ships sitting here, and if they want to catch your fleet of fishing boats, they have to go further, and they'll be chased in. And that's especially effective when you're talking about not only the galleys, the fact that they want to chase, they don't want to run away, but also when it's an HRE on HRE matchup where these galleys are going to be facing off against other galleys, which when they turn away, when they try to move through to your fishing line, they're going to be turning their back and they're not going to be returning fire against other galleys that will be giving chase. And that will give you the edge every day of the week as Viper, on top of being on the home field with your own docks to win any fight that Fitzy tries to stage on your side of the river. And then, of course, in the meantime, you're going to get the beautiful benefits of having a juiced-up fishing economy much quicker. Keep in mind, by the way, HRE is one of the civs that can actually utilize this well due to these lads here, these old guys with sticks. Sounds a bit dodgy when I say it like that. But yes, the prelates are fantastic for this. This extra 40% gather and capacity drop-off actually allows you to maintain production out of two fishing, out of 2 docks rather, fishing boats out of 2 docks, at a quicker rate than any other civ in the game. Meanwhile, he stars a few people in gold, so Viper, remember, he did sacrifice a little bit on that front, I believe. Did he go for a second prelate? No. I think he was just late on the gold, so he's not ready for a tech up. Fitzy will be very soon, though. So Viper will be a little bit behind him, but I don't think it's going to be that drastic of a difference. You can already see that Fitzy's still suffering because he didn't invest as hard on the food front. Meanwhile, Viper's almost there. And Viper's at a stage where, yeah, he'll just do this now. He'll send more people in the gold line now. He moves the prelate across as well. He doesn't want to be too far behind his opponent. And the cool thing is he has a fantastic placement for an Archon Chapel right at the back here on the woodline he isn't even utilizing yet. I think that's where you should place it as well. Although you'd like to buff your woodline, just build another prelate for this, because what you've got is you've got a giant wood economy behind you that's going to be very safe. The Archon Chapel could be placed right next to the tree line, in fact, to buff the gold line, the tree line, and the deer site, or you choose the gold line, the deer site, the wood site rather, and the berry bushes. Either way, really nice placement available to Viper here. Fitzy, on the other hand, got decent value. Not the best, though. This mill placement is rough. This Archon, I don't know why the Archon Chapel's here, actually. I think you could have placed this 1 or 2 more tiles across and still had range on the stone outcropping. Because you're missing out on the deer gathering rate is my problem right now. The prelate kind of has to stay here, and your woodline isn't anywhere nearby either. Your woodlines kind of suck compared to Viper's, actually, in a lot of ways. Like, playing towards this one, at least from an Archon Chapel's perspective, playing towards this one with the Archon Chapel wouldn't have felt good. And there's nothing else for a long way this way. So Viper, like, his generation is slightly better, but the way he's utilizing his Archon Chapel in that generation, which I think is a huge detail in the HRE's early mid-game plan, is 10 times better to Fitzy's, in my opinion. The only exception is if Fitzy's planning to go for TCs. I just don't think you should be TC spamming on this map. Water hybrid maps where you think you're going to be chill for the first 10 minutes on the water as HRE are maps where you should not be going for TC boom. You should actually be going for an Imperial Age rush. Because you can just get your hands on the Palace of Swabia and have effectively 4 TCs in one. So fishing count right now is ridiculously far ahead for Viper, up to 14 compared to 6. Even in a one-on-one, he's behind. Oh, that's going to be a problem. And Fitzy, well, his tech up won't be that much superior to Viper's. Look how close Viper is. Remember, because he has all that fishing economy already, he can afford to invest this many people into his tech up, into building it, right? So there it is. Both of them in feudal age, more or less the same time. Archon Chapel's going to be banked, and it's going to be better value for Viper. And he even goes back gathering the sheep in the meantime, so getting more value there as well. Could end up going into pro scouts. I just see no reason to in this situation. Instead, I'm expecting Viper to prep for a tech up again. And because of the situation with his gold line, his food line, he's going to actually have surplus to rush into Imperial Age before Fitzy. Fitzy's already underway with the relics Cathedral. Remember, this is the big race of HRE and HRE, is the relics. And I will say that Fitzy got the better side of this deal. And in fact, he knows about basically all of this, right? The only relic that Viper hasn't spotted is on the high ground, but he understands that Fitzy has the edge here. So Viper can't really afford to be behind. And that's why he invests 10 people into building this. But look at the response. Fitzy, 20 people to build up the Regnitz Cathedral. That's a hefty investment. And look at this, Prelate can't move out. This is a big kind of deal breaker right now. And you can see it's affecting both of them. The scout chasing the other side. Neither of them went for an early stable. We're fixing that now, though. Viper's dropping one. Meanwhile, on the other side, Fitzy's not fixing it. He continues his tech up. He does complete it. And it might be quick enough that he's going to get away with all the goodies. And I think he is as well. There's nothing you can do to stop this either as Viper. This is frustrating. So, Prelate picks it up. You've still got to get through over 60 health. Even if you kill him now, the relic's going to be so close to Fitzy's base, he won't care. So we'll all come out. Viper. Just in time. It's a bit too close for comfort. We'll on the side. Viper? Viper, no? That's fine. It doesn't work. It's a nice thing to confirm for people that weren't sure, though. I couldn't quite remember, actually, if it converted religious figures. But there's your confirmation. You definitely do not. I like how he's chasing him as if it does anything. Come back here, and I'll preach to you about the Lord and Savior of the blue. I don't care about your blue. I've got red and gold. An amazing color scheme, if I've ever seen it. And an amazing banking. 4 relics going to Fitzy. If Viper peels this one back from here, it will be miraculous. Because it is that big of a difference. Think about the differentials here, right? It's not just the fact that you now have 900 gold. It's that even if your opponent got 2, he's 300 gold behind you. But the other way you have to think about this is because he built another monastery. Not only is he getting an extra 100 gold, it's more than that in terms of the differential. He's getting 1,000 gold per minute. But now Viper is missing out on 600 gold per minute. Because there's only 1 relic left. And in fact, there isn't even 1 relic left. Oh my god. Yeah, this is the truest of nightmares for an HRE player. You're an HRE on HRE matchup. And right now, Fitzy has a religious boner the size of the Eiffel Tower. Like, truly, this is ridiculous. How did he do this? Well, he was a little bit quicker. It simply came down to that. And Viper, not identifying that he was behind, didn't bother to get a stable down quicker and get some horsemen out. Had he done this, this game could look so different. But instead, Fitzy is now just the head of state, okay? The Pope lives here. Well, the snake is going to have to live up to his name. He's going to have a very slivery solution to this. Viper, he still has the scaling economy on water. That is the one thing he's got going for him, but remember that will eventually dry up and becomes more difficult to maintain as we reach deeper into Castle and then Imperial Age. And Knights are now on the prowl. Remember that Viper will not be able to match this count, and he's quickly going to pick through these gold veins in this game. Meaning his economy is going to become more and more exposed. Not sure if this was intentional from Viper. Seems he's got people working on a straggler tree. Fitzy just continuing to trickle out the Knights. Probably looking to get up to about 10. Say 7, 8 will be optimal, I say, and then you can start to ride in. Needs to be careful of this, though. The Hulk's now coming out. Viper, he's angry about what happened here. So he looks to take control of the sea. If he can't exploit people through religion, he will exploit them through piracy. However, this game doesn't work like that. You don't actually get gold for anything related to the sea. Hey, there's an idea for a future Civ. Maybe fishing returns some gold. It's called piracy. Hell yeah. And I believe Imperial Age should be soon available for both these players. You can see that Fitzy's food is suffering a bit as he's transitioning. Viper, his gold is non-existent at this stage, it feels like. And this is the other concern. If you're forced into a knight-on-knight stalemate, you don't have surplus gold to keep this up long-term. Fitzy does because he has so many relics banked. It's a huge deal here because you don't really have a great alternative. What do you do as an alternative as Viper here? Do you build crossbows and move very slowly across the map? Maybe. Do you build spearmen and just look to outright counter a melee? Not really, because bracing doesn't work for HRE right now, apparently. Like, apparently that's still bugged for certain civs, and the HRE is one of them. So you seem to struggle to actually get your spearmen to actually brace consistently. And that means that you can't actually hold the cavalry in position to screw them over. And now, well, the cavalry are holding you around the neck. And I think there's emphasis on cavalry here, because Viper cannot be liking what's happening right now. Can't gather on that wood line that he tried to establish. Goal line had to be abandoned for the moment as well. Raids on each side. Hulk, meanwhile, moving in to deal with the fishing economy of Fitzy. But Fitzy is in the middle of transitioning, remember. He wants to start building the farms, and he's getting the Palace of Swabia. And that will set him up to fully rely upon land and no longer need the sea. And Sacred Site's now being capped in the south by Viper. Raids continue, Fitzy able to back away for the moment, but he's soon to have the technological superiority that Viper cannot match. Remember, Viper, he spent all of his gold building more knights. And in the back, yeah, there it is. Marketplace has to be dropped. With all this fishing economy, he needs to trade. And he needs to do it fast. He can feel this slipping away. He's a smart cookie. He has to understand that with what Fitzy done with the relic count, he has to already be teching up. And he's just waiting for the pop-up notification that Fitzy has reached the Imperial Age. In the meantime, just trying to force awkward situations. Sacred Site control going the way of Viper. Knight count is now in his favor as well. Fitzy is going to be initially weaker here, considering he went for the tech up. He wasn't continuously pushing Knights. And that's the other detail that gives it away to Viper. Viper understands if he wants to win, it has to be now. The problem is it has to be a now, followed by holding for 10 minutes. Start the clock, though. 13:40. Both Sacred Sites under his control. How feasible is this? And let's add in a new level of amazing detail, shall we, guys? Here we go. You ready for it? Oh, you can tell that this is being done live, can't you, when it's this scuffed? Here you go, guys. And I just have to remember. Yep, that's upside down. That's not exactly what I was looking for. I just got to remember to update that if he loses control. Here you go, that's the numbers. Meanwhile, look at him raiding in all the while we're doing that with the scuff timer. Viper is not content to wait around. He pushes in. When he sees the Imperial Age hits, he knows he has the Knight advantage still. For how long? No upgrades just yet. Feels like he has to get a few Knights out first. And look at this. Viper, he targets the core of the HRE's being. He's trying to get rid of that gold trickle as quickly as possible. See if he'll be able to get through it. Villagers moving across. Remember, emergency repairs is coming off cooldown soon. This is not quick enough. Viper, he needs to raid the economy. He needs to be here. There's so many villagers here. This is wasted effort. But this is the desperation setting in. And look at this. As that happens, what do the Knights do? They just run past. They're going to decap the sacred site. Viper, he's close enough to respond, but he has to do it right now. Oh, here we go. Knights will ride in. His are stronger, so they'll win out here. Upgrade's still not underway for Fitzy in the meantime. This is the problem right now. He hasn't got Knights in place to be upgrading. And now he can't afford it. He needs the food. His food is so limited right now. There we go. Knights clean up. Viper. This is phenomenal. To think he has no relics. He has not got technological superiority here. And yet he is the one choking Fitzy out of this game. This is why Viper is considered one of the greatest of all time. We'll have to see if he can keep it up, though. He's still got to do it for another, what, 7 minutes? It's a big ask. So get his opponent off of the water entirely. This central site is easy to control. The northern one can be the problem, and that is why stone walls are now going down from Viper. Viper just understanding ahead of even what I want to talk about, what he needs to do each time. And now, is it still Elite Knights? No, it's still not been done. This is a problem. Fitzy, his food is always capped because he keeps producing villagers. He needs more farmlands. He needs it now. He's got more people going to berry bushes as we speak. And Viper has more Knights coming in. That's because he needs to reach that critical mass. He needs to push out, and he realizes it. So he can never wait around to get the upgrade. And it's hurting Fitzy so much. If he had that quality, he wouldn't need to match the quantity completely. Instead, he's always behind the quantity count. Viper just non-stop slogging in. The Zerg Fiesta never ends with the Knights. And now, a second contingent wrapping around the side. Outpost with the Spiritual Defenses, trying to protect a little bit. Spearmen now being built. Fitzy, that's how defensive he is at this stage. And remember, these are only hardened Spearmen. They haven't been upgraded. He can't afford to upgrade them because he still can't afford to upgrade his Knights. Everything is just choking him out on the food front, and it's hurting. It's hurting a lot. Viper still not diving deeper. More Knights coming still. And well, chat is pointing out fairly that like these relics could go into different buildings. It's actually a fair point to make. Remember that when you put the relics in these buildings, they get the, as you can see there, like you get the improved armor, damage, and weapon range and sight range. But you also still trickle gold. So them being this monastery is pointless. They should be in a keep, an outpost, or even a dock if you were still on the waterfront, because docks also give you money, while also giving you the attack speed buff. I think the only reason Fitzy didn't do it is because there's outposts on the front. And if he does that, they might get sieged. But I don't expect, even if they get sieged, for Viper to sneak a prelate in. They're just too slow moving. So yeah, Fitzy overall just missing a trick. And now, missing that advantage he felt he had before. 12 Knights moving in to burn down more. 8 remaining, but look in the north. 20 now from Viper. I can't believe he's doing this. This is incredible. Considering where he was at in this game before, the way he's peeled this back has been fantastic. And he might just win this courtesy of a Sacred Site victory at this rate. Because he understands it's not about getting in the base, getting that emphatic victory, burning everything to the ground, raising it, right? It's simply about keeping your opponent defensive, making him hunker down. Making it so he can never move out. And this is showing exactly that. Fitzy forced to drop a keep in his own base. And it doesn't get much worse than this. And remember, you've only got just over 4 more minutes. 4 more minutes, and then you're done. So Fitzy, invest in this all you want for the moment. Sure, that's fine. But you better have a solution 2 minutes from now. Because you can't even wait necessarily that long. You need to be halfway there by that timer. And look what's happening in response, Viper. He moves out with the walls. All he has to do is layer this. All right, turn yourself into the biggest onion ever. Bigger than Shrek. and you will Shrek his world. And even Archers now moving in. More walls going down. Racks at the back. Spearman coming out, but there's already Archers here from Viper, remember. Knights will back away. Still no quality. Fitzy still can't afford it. He finally actually has the surplus, but he's not spending it, right? He's only got one staple. He hasn't rebuilt. He's got nowhere to build. He's so choked in. He gave up on the Knights. And it feels like he may have just given up on the game. I cannot believe that Viper is doing this. This right here, this factor, when you look across at the other player and it's this, there's 0 relics in here. This is a death sentence for HRE players. Most HRE players would GG out off the basis of losing out the relic war. But not Viper, not the Snake. He says, hell no. I'm more than that. I'm more than defined by a crappy old religious piece of gold found in the ground hundreds of years ago. And he's proving it right here. He's proving that he is the pure gold himself. This right out from Fitzy. Well, I think he's going to discover what he should have expected in a sec. And he is not going to like it. Palisade. Palastone. Oh, and that's going to spell the end of that plan. Yeah, even the Knights prowling from Viper, keeping eyeballs on what his opponent's doing everywhere. On this Knight Force, they might just ride out. It'll take him so long to get through this. They'll be able to respond. He's even leaving so many crossbow and archers on the walls. Remember, they get that bonus range, an extra 2 in fact, and take less damage from me on top of it. You have no way through him. Fitzy, all he built was Spearman and a few man-at-arms. Oi, oi, oi. A few Knights are going to stay back as well, just in case. He splits the forces, understands he has the number advantage over his opponent. Fitzy's revealed his hand, and his hand is a pair of 2s compared to Viper, who at the turn of the board, he was starting with jacks, and he's turned it into a full house, it feels like. Crossbow and archers come off the walls. They stand their ground. They don't even move back. Viper says, why do I need to? He'll finally do it now just to save a few more troops, but this looks bad for Fitzy. And what a play. Guys, this is a masterclass. All right, HRE might right now be defined by their relics, but they need not be. They are more than just that, and Viper has proven it. The economical power of this Civ means you still have capabilities. And the fact that he went for that double dock at the beginning is exactly why he didn't GG out as soon as the relic situation became apparent. Because he gave himself a window of opportunity, right? He extended the point at which you can stay in this game. It became about more than just gold. It became about food. And as we saw Fitzy, his big limitation time and time again in this game was he was food capped. He had nothing he could do here. He ran out of space. And some people will say, oh, this is a big throw out of Fitzy. But no, I think this is more in Viper. Viper actually maintaining the food requirement to push out more Knights than his opponent at a point where Fitzy is transitioning after grabbing the relics. He's not able to afford this. And that's what gives Viper the win. Really well identified. Power play under the water by him. And he pushes it to the maximum to take the win here on Danu.